Immediately after putting it in, we were introduced to the usual creative Rockstar logos. Then we were blessed with the magic that was the theme song. The theme song, in my opinion, is up there with some of the best Grand Theft Auto intros and intro themes. We were then introduced to the game's protagonist, Tony Cipriani. Now, we had no knowledge of Grand Theft Auto 3 and had no idea of the previous games apart from San Andreas, so Tony was a completely new character for us. After the first mission and after laughing at the insults Vincenzo had thrown at us for driving like a blithering idiot,
Jesus, Tony, you drive like a bitch!
I told my brother, let's go jump into the water, because in San Andreas you could swim. So my naive little ass thought it was a brilliant idea and suggested that he should. And complied he did. He drove to the nearest mass of water and jumped into it, with the expectation in both our minds that Tony will swim, only for him to disappoint us by drowning. Now you must be thinking that this video is going to be about me summarizing the game story and the characters as well as the gameplay, followed by the good and the bad things in the game itself, but it's already been done like a bajillion times. So I decided to make something like a diary entry expressing the love and fascination of the game I've always had, as well as pull on the strings of nostalgia I've experienced at the game, and hopefully something you've experienced as well. Anyway, my brother and I enjoyed the game thoroughly, trying everything from cheats to glitches, failing missions on purpose, and playing rampages. But what I'll say is this: Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories is one of my favorite games in the franchise because it's one of the first few games that I remember watching my brother playing the entirety of the story from start to end. I remember how much fun we've had playing the game. Though we haven't finished the games 100%, when my brother started to trust me with the PS2, I used to fire this game up and just play for the fun of it. I never used to do any missions. I remember using peds with guns cheats and then starting an all-round riot with them while I was using the most powerful weapon set in the game, Weapon Set 3. Blasting everyone with a minigun and seeing how long I could survive as every pedestrian with a gun and a 5-star wanted level were after me. God, was their frame rate absolute crap. There were a few seconds that I thought that I'd broken the game due to too many explosions on the screen at once. But that's the charm, I guess. The gameplay is similar to that of San Andreas, so we had a lot of fun driving around, crashing and terrorizing the police with a tank. I heard that the engine of the game is a modified version of Grand Theft Auto Vice City, which begs the question, could GTA 3, Vice City and San Andreas have worked on the PSP? I personally think it would. The gameplay of Liberty City Stories is similar to that of San Andreas, with the crosshairs being similar when you aim your weapon at an NPC. The driving mechanics are the same as San Andreas, which after playing Grand Theft Auto 3 in 2019 is a fucking pleasure. The cars don't feel as if they're made out of frickin' plastic, in which if you were to cause an accident, the cars would slow down significantly, rather than one of the cars flying to Vice City after a collision. The cars also take quite a while to take damage while being shot, unlike the cars in GTA 3 where they're made out of 100% Alex James Murphy, where all you need is just 3 shots of a shotgun and your car will explode. The gang members don't start shooting at you randomly when driving at the neighborhood, like in GTA 3, but rather they are similar to San Andreas, where they only confront you while on foot. Well, that's at least in my experience. The game is pretty much the basic Grand Theft Auto that GTA 3 and Vice City was, but squeezed onto a PSP, which is insane. My one problem would be that Sony didn't put a second analog stick, which would have been a lot of help with the camera in the game, with the camera in many games, in fact. My favorite mission was the one where you had to blow up a tunnel, which eventually blew up most of the town. It was insane to see that level of destruction caused by us in the game. Enough about that. Let's talk about what everyone does whenever they mention the name Grand Theft Auto. The music. The game had some of the best music of the series. Flashback FM is just one large Giorgio Moroder album. classics like I Wanna Rock You, E equals MC Squared, and Chase, with a few more added in there as well. I remember countless hours of driving along Staunton Island with Flashback FM blasted in the background. I would sometimes turn off the game's sound effects levels and just leave the radio on full and just play the game for the joy of it. I didn't listen to many in-game radios as a child. I only listened to a few radio stations, one obviously being Flashback FM. Being Indian, the second was the biggest surprise to my brother and I. Being Indian, there's always a chance that our parents won't listen to popular music at the time, like No One by Alicia Keys, Give Me More by Britney Spears, or Beautiful Girls by Sean Kingston, or Little Wings by Mark Gormley. We would get in the car and my parents would immediately change the station to the best radio station that would play Hindi music. Yep, and you know what station I'm talking about. Radio Del Mundo. As soon as we stole the nearest taxi in the game, the first thing we heard was this. And you can just imagine the smiles that developed on our faces as we were driving down Sanderson Darkos while listening to this song. Which, now that I think about it, sounds a bit morbidly disturbing. But anyway, the station consisted of classics like Nive Nana by Vijaya Anand, I Need Bed Ref by Amud Naimne, and by far my favorite, Dum Horo Dum by Asha Bhosle. That song is stuck in my head and will continue to be stuck in my head until I internally combust. I also listened to a little of Double Clef. My favorite was Anvil Chorus by Giuseppe Verdi. MSX 98 FM was always a joy to listen to. Head radio was something that you could just sit back and watch the sunset and the moose rise to. Rise FM was just filled with classics like Sing It Back by Bonocco, Hideaway by DeLacy, Plastic Dreams by JD, Positive Education by Slam, Flash by Green Velvet, and by far the most nostalgic, Circus Bells by Robert Armani. I could go on about the music, but I'll just be wasting time. I'll leave a link to the playlist of all the radio stations in the description below, and let me know what was your favorite in Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. But we can't mention the radio stations without acknowledging the brilliant adverts.
The event movie of the year everyone is talking about.
You're just a virus. You're not real.
I'm your mother, stupid!
A group of people that think the whole world is trapped in a computer.
We can't get out!
Hurry! Stick your hard disk inside my drive!
I can't! My hard disk crashed!
Reboot it!
The Mainframe. What happens when 5 college students take LSD and discover the truth?
Ah! Your face is a big pixel!
And they have to make the decision of their lives.
What's it gonna be? Yes or no? 1 or 0?
The Mainframe. It's real.
The Mainframe!
Coming to theaters this Friday. Rated PS for Pretty Stupid.
All in all, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories will always have a special place in my heart. It was the first Grand Theft Auto game that I've owned, it was the first Grand Theft Auto game that I've ever played, and it was the first Grand Theft Auto game that I've watched my brother complete the story of, and the second GTA game that I've ever played the most of. I don't know what GTA 6 will bring in the future, but whatever happens, Liberty City Stories will always be a game that I will always look back to. Let's not forget the brilliant conversion mod for Liberty City Stories called Sandaku Chronicles by Barcode Studio, which expands the story of the game, of the main story, which I highly recommend you try. And that's that, my experience of Liberty City Stories. You may have a different experience with the game, but we cannot deny the fun that was had while playing it. I hope you enjoy my little story, and make sure to hit that button and stay up to date with future videos. Thank you so much for your time. Till we meet again.